Does anybody out there read me?
All right. Well, I am Grant from Screen Rant here with Tony Tost for Poker Face Season 2. Very excited to be chatting with you. How you doing today?
Good, Grant, and dig the Ryan Johnson friendly room decoration back there.
I had to find a way to get some of it in. I've got a million shirts related to Ryan's work,
Yeah,
so
cool.
I love it. And I must say, kudos to you and the team for carrying the high bar that you set in that first season. I know that this is your first time on the show, taking over from the Zuckerman sisters. I'd love to hear, what were some of the key discussions that you had with Ryan about ensuring that you were bringing your own little twist to this world while also sticking true to what he and the Zuckermans did in that first season?
Yeah. Well, coming in, I came in as a big fan, and so I love this type of television, of this kind of character-driven case of the week, where it's not just plot, though hopefully you have a good mystery story to tell, but it's really an emphasis on character and humor and surprising moments. And so I came in, my take on it was just like, I don't want to really change the show. Like I want my dream version of Poker Face keeps doing mysteries of the week, keeps dropping Charlie into new situations. Like to me, when I was interviewing, I talked to a lot of people to get this job, and to me, there's three big reasons to watch the show. First is Natasha as Charlie Cale, someone you want to hang out with every week. Two is the guest stars and the worlds that you're in. And three is having surprising mysteries. Those are the reasons to watch Poker Face. With that in mind, I would love to do my part to help us find new stories, new corners of America, of the map, new situations for Charlie that just didn't have time to in season one. There wasn't anything I wanted to fix or I wanted to course correct on. So it's no, let's just build on what the Zucks did in the season one. And in terms of bringing to it, I'd pitch it could be stuff from films I wanted to reference or worlds I wanted to be in, to I love trucker movies from the 70s, right? I love Burt Reynolds and Smokey and the Bandit. I love Convoy, Chris Christopherson. I love Clint Eastwood and Every Which Way But Loose. And, I'm just can we get a CB radio in here? I miss CB radios. That seems more Charlie than a cell phone. Let's give her a buddy that she talks to, and so we kind of embrace that. So that was something that I brought to the table. Or, I think Ryan and I think also Natasha have a lot of we're all kind of film buffs, and especially like digging into off the beaten path movies, from the 70s or from whatever. And so it'd be fun. We're doing a baseball episode, and instead of both Ryan and I, our brain, instead of let's do Bull Durham or let's do Major League or The Natural, we're both let's do our version of Fat City, which is 1972 John Huston boxing movie based on a Leonard Gardner novel, but it's about an older boxer played by Stacy Keach past his prime, and Jeff Bridges is a young guy on his way up. But let's do it in the minor league baseball. That's the dynamic. We want to be the people who never quite made it and be in their world for an episode. So I think there's just there's a desire on my part just to don't drop the ball, and then just find these other little things that other TV shows aren't doing. Not try to copy trends or try to approximate what the newest HBO show is doing, but kind of do this strange little thing that Poker Face does.
Well, I love the way you've done it so far this season. I'm about halfway through it, so there's still a lot for me to dive into. Now, I wanted to touch one thing you mentioned was the guest list, and I mean, I'm always amazed by the roster that is amassed in each season. I'm curious what the casting process is kind of like. I mean, are you finding yourselves in the writer's room sort of envisioning actors in these characters already, or you sort of have maybe a dream list of people that you're checking off as you reach out and get yeses from them?
All the above. So say episode 3, Wyatt Kane, when he was pitching that episode, he's we start, here's an FBI agent, think John Mulaney, and Natasha sees that. I was let's just ask John Mulaney, and so it could be like that. other instances we'll have like a character type, like I talk about like the baseball player. We had this older, younger types, and then we're like, okay, who could possibly be in this? And Simon Rex was someone that I've worked with before and I'm friends with, and so like, hey Simon, why don't you come join us? Other times it could be simply like Natasha goes out to dinner with somebody who's like, I love Poker Face, is there a role for me? And she'll come back the next day and it's just like, hey, let's get my pal in here. It's like, yeah, your pal's awesome, let's bring him in, and so it can be a lot of things. Like Natasha and Ryan have kind of deep, as you can imagine, contact lists in terms of people they're friendly with or who want to work with them. And then we had great casting directors, also Mary Vernew and Brett Howe, who also would do the actual diligent work of who's available. Here's some lists, here's some tapes on some roles and stuff. So it was and the funny thing about the show is that we're doing this all over again every 10 days. Like other than Natasha, like the whole show disappears and we build it again from scratch and recast it from scratch. So it's a little bit of chaos, but like the end results, like I'm so delighted by the people that we got.
As am I. I mean, even just from the jump with the 5 Cynthias was just an absolute awesome start to the season. And since you mentioned episode 3, so some of these questions will be saved for after release, because I did want to ask about the Beatrix Hasp's return and sort of, interestingly enough, wrapping up the fugitive arc for Charlie. I'd love to hear what was the mindset behind bringing it close to that chapter in order to let her be free to roam around the country.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of like, we started off as just almost under the presumption that like, well, yeah, okay, this is going to be like, Benjamin Bratt and Ron Perlman season 1, and it'll resolve by the end of the season. And then I think, and it's all a haze, but I'm sure it came, Ryan's initial instinct was just like, well, does it have to be? Like, do we have to like just play it out the whole season? Like, wouldn't it be kind of fun to like have it suddenly resolved, and then Charlie goes from being on the run to being on the road, where she's, actually kind of free to choose her own life, and she actually chooses to stay on the road. But like, and then we get a little bit of chance to explore elements of her character. And so that it kind of came from that. It was kind of like, at first this was like, oh yeah, of course we'll play it out like, like most seasons of TV do. And then realizing like, we don't have to do it like that. Actually, I think we prefer to do this other thing. And that might, give us a chance to do some stuff that we might not otherwise have the bandwidth to do, just in terms of storytelling.
Well, I like the way you did it, because again, it surprised me, and it really made me intrigued about where to go, where the rest of the season was going to go.
Well, then that's according to plan, and that's the hope. Cool.
So you mentioned the CB, by the way, and I can't wait to hear more of Steve Buscemi's voice's good buddy waxing philosophy throughout the rest of the season. I'd love to hear what you can tease maybe about that character, because obviously with anything in this kind of world, there could be any kind of twist in the future regarding
that. Well, I mean, I would not get too big of like, we kind of play that he's a good companion for Charlie when she needs it. And so like it's so he's a good voice to have out there for Charlie to talk to, but I don't know how much to expect for him to intersect with the bigger plot or anything. It's more a little bit like the fabric of the show, this kind of like almost like you would like, I don't know, like Norm's wife and Cheers, you never actually needed to see her. It's like almost in a way you wanted to imagine her in her world. Like in the same way, I'm just delighted by imagining Steve Buscemi, consummate New Yorker, driving a big rig across America like that. I like that version of it. So that's kind of what we're going for with that character.
Well, I dig it. It's a fresh take on that character too, because again, could have been in one that easily comes back for something dark and sinister. But I like that it's just he's just a companion. For my very final question before I let you go, I mean, we just talked about Charlie being free to do what she wants and therefore choosing a life on the road. But as I saw in the full season trailer, she has the thought come to mind about settling down. I'm curious, how open do you think she is to that possibility? And do you think maybe there is an end game in mind for yourself and for Ryan on this show?
I mean, I think in season, I can't speak for Ryan. I mean, I can only speak on this season, right? Though I have, thoughts about where it could go, but she's going to give it a try. She's going to actually try to like have a quote unquote normal life. And we'll have to see how that plays out. But like, she'll get a sense that like maybe, maybe life on the road has its, as many drawbacks as benefits. And so I think it'll be interesting towards the end of the season to see what that looks like if Charlie does try to kind of settle in.
Well, I really look forward to getting through the rest of the season, I should say. Again, I left off just after Gator, so
cool. That's a fun one. And I think I have fondness for all these episodes, but like the next one's the baseball one. I think that's a pretty fun one. So yeah.
After what you've told me, I'm really excited to get into that one. So awesome, thank you, Tony, so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you, Grant. Really appreciate it.
What am I even running from, right?
Basic House says hello.
Oh, right.